for him. So our feature today is the Group 1 Winx Stakes, and let's have a look at the key contenders.
Animo is the horse they have to beat. The three-time Group 1 winner ticks all the boxes. Wins at the track, distance, first up, and has J-Mac on board.
But a cosy victory in the English side for Animo.
Mo'unga is a three-time first up winner, including last year's Winx Stakes when he held off Very Elegant.
There's a swarm coming late, cascading right down the outside, but Mo'unga's won it.
Profondo is the X Factor. Wonderful last spring.
And it's all go for Profondo, and the spring champion, the favourite, wins it easily.
Woeful in the autumn. Will the real Profondo please stand up? Forbidden Love was the revelation of the autumn, winning 2 Group 1s, including the George Ryder.
But here's another one for Forbidden Love. She's in grand form.
Can Bowman and Waller combine to win the Winx Stakes with Fangirl?
And Fangirl won the binary start stakes.
Now, wouldn't that be something?
There's some fascinating contenders there. It's a great race.
It is. I like that last girl, Fangirl.
Yeah, I think she's going to be a big factor when we get to an Epsom. She'll be the one, I think, at the moment for them to beat. Hey, Bruce, Animo, he could join some absolute greats if he wins today.
Yeah, we looked at something different here, Richo. So who's won a 2-year-old Group 1? A Group 1 as a 3-year-old spring horse, a Group 1 as a 3-year-old autumn horse, and then as a 4-year-old in the spring. It's hard to do for 3 good reasons. One of them is that often Group 1s don't go on after 2-year-olds. There's only 5 Group 1s or half a dozen Group 1s for 2-year-olds. And then, of course, they go to the stud. But so you've got to go back to Testarossa and then Octagonal. So only one this century has been able to win a Group 1 as a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old in the spring, 3-year-old in the autumn. And if he does it today, Animo, he's the first in over 20 years to do it. So rare in a way.
Yeah, it certainly is, and maybe rare for Huey. There is Animo that we've referenced. So that is an elite group, isn't it? And it just shows the longevity of being at the absolute elite level. Hard to win a Group 1 as a 2-year-old and even go on as a 3-year-old, let alone to keep winning Group 1s as a 4-year-old. And Huey's looking for a bit of history too.
Yeah, he's trying to equal Darby Munro's record in the Winx Stakes. So he's on 5, Huey. Won Racing to Win back in 2008. And then, of course, the Mighty Mare taking it out 3 times. But he has an excellent chance today, I think, Huey, to take it out on Fangirl. She's been trialling super, and no doubt whatever she does today, she's going to be a massive improver on. But here's the Mighty Mare and Huey that made this race their own, like most of the races that Winx run in.
So it was known as the Warwick Stakes, and it's only in the last 4 years that it's been known as the Winx Stakes, and it's been a Group 1. And the Group 1 winners, Winx, Samadou, Very Elegant and Mo'unga. And Huey Bowman looking to join Darby Munro. So into the mounting yard we go. First Group 1 of the new season, 2022-23. First of 74 at the absolute elite level in Australian racing. And we start, Lizzie, with the defending champ, Mo'unga.
Yes, I went down the back to have a look at all of these runners, and just having a look at them in the yard, they have all presented brilliantly. None better than this guy, Mo'unga. He does sometimes get a little bit up and about. He's a winner of this race 12 months ago. He's now a new purchase for New Haven Park, and this Group 1 would mean a lot for the Connections if they were able to get this as a 5-year-old, but there's no reason why he can't. He's a very healthy individual, nice and forward in condition. A lot to like about him today.
He is Stockman, who is big odds. He probably would have preferred the track to be probably in the heavy range. He's going to have to be his ultimate best to try and give this race a shake, but he does look well enough in the yard.
Nice kick-off point for him, isn't it? And Lizzie, here's the champ.
Yeah, Animo's parading a lot better than he did first last preparation. He's definitely a lot more relaxed, even though he's just got a little bit of nervous energy, just getting slightly up on his toes. If you remember last time around, he got very full of himself, kicked to the side of the mountain yard, was sweaty and just wasn't really focused at all. So this is a lot of positives coming from his parade, and you'd have to say his trials mark that he's in great shape. This guy, Profondo, he's been trialling really nicely. We all know what he did in his first ever preparation, winning a Group 1 at his third career start. I'm looking at a completely different horse this time around. He's furnished, he's a lot stronger, he's more focused. Everything indicates to me that if he can put up the performance that I've seen at the trials, he's going to be right in the finish.
Bruce, can Halal be a factor here?
He'll have to improve from that first up run, but he will, Richo. And he has mixed it with Animo, of course, in the autumn. We thought he was going to beat him and just got nabbed, and he's been a very good horse from a 2-year-old on. I think he's about his right price, Richo. I think he's about a 15 to 21 to 1 pop.
And Benno, he's going to be in for a staying preparation. Katie, this is a nice little kick-off.
It is a good kick-off for him, and there's no reason why he probably couldn't flash home and run a bit of a place, because he's been trialling really well. A big opportunity for Reece Jones in a Group 1 as well for John O'Shea. He's drawn a nice barrier, and no doubt whatever he does today, he will improve on when he gets out in trip. Here is Forbidden Love. Lizzie, how does she look?
She looks good, Caitlin. She was a little bit disappointing, I thought, first up, obviously beaten by Hard Empire 100 to 1 shot in the Missile Stakes. I couldn't fault her in the way that she presents today, but I just want to see her step out onto the course and come back this preparation, because, as I said, that first up run was slightly disappointing. Another mare in the race is Ice Bath. She's running first up. Of course, she's never won a Group 1, but she's always run well in multiple group races, and she ran really well last preparation at the end of her last prep.
Yeah, she can run well fresh, can't she? Look, she's my roughie in the race, because I'm looking for one at double figures. It's probably Profondo or her. I just went for one at a big price to run into the first 3 or 4. Lizzie, I'm keen to follow this girl throughout the autumn.
She's come on, Richo. She is a lot stronger this time around. I actually walked down from the stalls area down the raceway behind her, and you can really judge how much condition and maturity she has heaped on from last preparation. She's now a 4-year-old mare, which was always going to be a sign that she was going to be getting better, so you certainly should be following her.
I should have said the spring, of course. Hinged will be a factor in the spring too.
Yeah, I think so too. She's a great horse, isn't she? And she was chasing the likes of Fangirl and only just getting narrowly beaten. She's a Group 1 Surround Stakes winner, second up last preparation on a heavy track. And she's certainly got Group 1 quality about her.
Who's got the stamp of approval the Lizzie likes?
Richard, this was a lot harder race than I thought it was going to be. I thought there was going to be a few horses that were playing up that weren't behaving themselves, but actually every single one that is in the market, Animo, Profondo, they all behaved perfectly. I'm going the way of Profondo. He's just a magnificent looking galloper. He's really strengthened from last preparation. His trials have been excellent. I have my fingers and toes crossed. He can transcend that trial form onto the race day form, because if he can, he's something very special.
Hallelujah, Ben Way. Group 1 racing is back for the season. Let's look at the Winx.
It's just so good, isn't it, to see so many of these good horses back. And this is the sort of race where if you're in the second leg of the quaddie and still alive, I hope you're really wide, because nearly any of them could win without causing too much of a surprise. Animo, the $2.50 favourite. Mwanga at $5. Animo's clearly the best, backed about 52% of the hold. $2.50 at present. Fangirl, $5.50. Forbidden Love at $7. Then we have Hinged at $13. Profondo, as just mentioned by Lizzie. She's pretty keen on that runner. 11 out to 14, but may well get a trim up after that news. Halal at $21, and then Ice Bar $26. Benno and Stockman $101 for the latter. The Winx Stakes, Animo our favourite, currently $2.50.
How's the race going to be run and won from a speed map scenario?
I think it's going to be fascinating, because I don't think there's a lot of speed in the race. I think Forbidden Love will certainly be forward and she'll control this race. Hinged, I wasn't sure where to put, because of course she's got a big preparation ahead of her. I think she'll be forward from that barrier. I think the likes of Profondo and Animo, they'll get the runs of the race just behind the speed. Mwanga won't be too far away. I think Benno, Stockman, Ice Bath and Fangirl, they will all probably be back in the field, mid to back, and probably try and get the last crack of them. But I don't think that they're going to go blistering.
Where will Profondo be? That's going to be interesting. The tactics involved. What does Animo do? Lizzie, you've spoken to Richard Leet, re Profondo.
Yeah, I spoke to him down at the stalls, and he just mentioned to me that I said, what do you think with him this time around? He said, he's a completely different horse. He said, we've got it right this time. He said, we didn't quite get the preparation right last autumn, and the fact that he's more focused, his trials have been good, they've been taking a sit. I think that it will indicate that he won't be charging forward like he has done in the past. So I think you just have to, we obviously have to see him do it on a race day, but the confidence from the stable suggests that they think he's a completely different horse this time around. On Animo, he looks a lot more focused as well. The 2 trials, I think, have been the trick for him, just to have him a bit more forward and less fresh. And then you're looking at horses like Mwanga and Fangirl, who have ticked all the boxes and paraded really nicely and strengthened each and every time. So it is a fascinating contest.
First of 74, Bruce, for the season. We kick off with the one named after the Immortal. What are you thinking?
And it comes up so quickly, Richo, doesn't it, and Katie? I mean, it's so early in the season yet. It's a very strong field as it was last year. I'm thinking there are 4 or 5 genuine winning chances, and I'm thinking there's too much difference between Animo and Profondo in price, if Profondo's right, because I felt at the end of their 3-year-old spring campaign, there wasn't a breath between them. Animo's second in the Cox Plate, Profondo's winning the Spring Champion. I'd sort of line them up together. James Cummings said they've had to work on him to have a measured attitude. Look at him, a measured attitude. They didn't want him to have his race before the race. I think James has been successful in doing it. He's my favourite horse at the moment, Animo. I'm not going to tip against him. I hope he wins. I think Profondo's a massive danger, and I think the other 2 winning chances are Fangirl and Mwanga. It's a good renewal, a beauty.
But at 1,400 metres, is Profondo sharp enough at 14?
Yep. I think he is, because I think he's been trained to win first up this race. I think he is. I could be wrong. We're about to find out. But I think he can sprint well enough. But look, I'm going to go with Animo. He never lets you... Forget the Queen Elizabeth. That was a weird race. We had Very Elegant and Animo and those horses running terribly. Has he ever run a bad race in his life?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. You've got to just completely forgive what we saw in the Queen Elizabeth. So he finished last there. I think Mwanga finished last in the Queen Elizabeth and won this race first up last year.
Yeah, it's he's not let me down, but some of the races that he's been in, the circumstances haven't allowed him to win either. Looking back at a Golden Slipper where he was unlucky, and you know, he's a horse that I don't completely trust. He's quirky for mine, Bruce, the way that he can sometimes prick his ears and have a little bit of a think. I know that you think that I'm wrong.
Well, when he's on, he's nearly unbeatable. But your point's valid. Sometimes he has days where he's not on.
I'm just trying to think of the best, how to ride him the best. Is it go forward? Maybe it is.
Maybe it is. Is he the hot horse, Ben?
Animo's easily the best backed runner, guys. So he's the hot horse. 52% of the hold, 4 times more than Mwanga, 15 times more than the money we're seeing for Profondo. It's not one-way traffic, but it's pretty close.
Here we go. Winx Stakes, tactics, fascinating.
At $2.50. There's the light. And they're racing. Animo was one of the last into stride, and Hinged and Forbidden Love were the first 2 out. Halal's going forward into a very handy roller, and Animo quickly improving, sliding into 4th on the inside of Mwanga. Couple further back to Profondo from Benno Stockman. 2 after Weiss Bath, and Fangirl will settle back last. Halal boots her on the inside of Forbidden Love. 1,000 metres to go, and Halal's taking control by a half length to Forbidden Love. 2 lengths to Hinge third, then came Animo. Profondo caught a bit deep on the outside of Mwanga. Further back to Weiss Bath and Benno from Stockman, and Fangirl 8 lengths off the leaders last of all. So it's Halal trying to stack them up by a half length to Forbidden Love. 2 lengths in third is Hinged. Animo a very handy 4th. Profondo's been 3 wide from the start. Then came Benno from Mwanga, last year's winner, a bit cluttered up coming to the bend, and Berry starting to ride the stallion up. Ice Bath the outside, and Fangirl is last, turning for home, and Halal swings in front narrowly from Forbidden Love. McDonald's got no alternative but to go back to the inside, and Animo, and Profondo strides up with a big one on the outside. It's on now. Animo moved up on the inside to join Profondo, and they're broken clear. It's Animo in front from Profondo. Fangirl late on the scene, but Animo's drawn clear, and there's another Group 1 success. Animo won the Winx Stakes by 2 lengths. Fangirl second, Profondo third. Benno finished off hard from Hint, and then came Halal from Ice Bath, Stockman, Forbidden Love, and Mwanga was one of the last to finish.
So James Cummings just take a big bow. So 2-year-old Group 1 winner, 3-year-old Spring. Oh boy, there's James's wife. They're absolutely thrilled. A 3-year-old Autumn, a 4-year-old in the Spring. It was perfect, wasn't it? Lizzie, how exciting was it when Profondo and Animo matched strides for a moment or two and then Fangirl come? Don't you feel like the whole spring has been set up in this beautiful afternoon at Royal Randwick?
I absolutely do. It was an absolute beauty. You were watching Profondo, as you mentioned, loom into it, and then you switched to the inside and you saw Animo, a perfect ride from James McDonald. He saved all the ground. He had his horse in a completely switched off state, and that was what was the winning move in the end. Oh, the flashing light. There's so many horses you're going to be following out of today's race. Fangirl was excellent. Profondo ticked the box that he's back in good order, and I think when you look back through the field, there's many, many horses who have hit the line, and spring is well and truly in the air.
Cannot wait to analyse this race time and time again. Animo, awesome, great ride, James McDonald. Knew there was going to be ground to the inside. Fangirl was superb. Profondo, terrific. Benno goes into it. Black books everywhere, the grey up on the inside. Take a bow, James McDonald. 66 career Group 1s. James Cummings, 32. Animo, a 4th. He's a ripper.
Yeah, he's just a real furnished product now, isn't he? Just the way he switched off mid-race too, didn't he, Richo? James just sort of had him in a nice rhythm, and he really wanted to relax. So we've seen him today. He was more professional behind the barriers, and James Cummings will be absolutely thrilled, as we just saw Monica, his wife, on screen, and thrilled with how he's come back, and can't wait to see what he can do this spring.
So, Bruce, right now, that's the Cox Plate favourite defeating the Epsom favourite. Is that about right?
100% right, Richard. Couldn't agree more. He was devastating. Profondo was terrific. So he's got those 4 Group 1s and all those placings, and James Cummings must be a proud man today, Richo.
Let's hear from him now.
Well, James Cummings, congratulations. The second horse this century to win a Group 1 at 2-3 N4. He's a star.
He's a proper horse, isn't he? But it's just a great result for the team, and a bit surprised. I'm upset about it, but he just means a lot to us, and it's a pleasure for us to have a horse as good as this back at 4. You know, got a great team around us. That we say it all the time, but it should go without saying, really. But you can see the effort that's gone into this horse to get him to this level, and to have him back every prep is amazing. To talk to the boys at the conclusion of his preparation last time, you know, it's to have the confidence in us to keep going with him, that we feel like we can lift his value, lift his reputation. It's Group 1 win number 4, and you know, you can't help but feel like, you know, he's well and truly stamped himself as the horse to beat in anything he runs in this preparation.
It's so significant, isn't it? Ray pointed out in the Telegraph this morning that the last horse to win at 2, 3 and 4, a Group 1, was Show a Heart, and prior to that was Octagonal. And that sort of puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, like, you know, without an international horse, this horse might have won a Cox Plate, a Caulfield Guineas, draws a gate and a slipper. He's won a slipper, you know, far out. Like, name me a colt that's not far off going to stud that's done that. So he's just he's like our dancing brave, you know. He's like a pretty special horse to have him work.
When do we see him again?
Oh, we've got plenty of time to wait and see how he is, pulls up. We've got sport for choice. There's so much on the table for a horse like him, but yeah, he's a wonderful horse to have in training for His Highness Sheikh Mohammed in Australia, and a great advertisement really of what we can do with the farm and with the stables we've got. He's seen every stable, and you know, all my assistant trainers between Dizzy, Reg, Sean, Paul Reed, like they've all had their hands on him, and it's great to see him flying, coming back with form like that at 4, and hopefully the preparation unfolds as beautifully as it did there for him in this first up run.
We can see what he means to you. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, it means so much. Why though? Wonder why. Of all the Group 1s, what did I say? 32 for James Cummings. Haven't seen him in tears too often. There's something special about this horse. We might delve into that into the future. What a win it was. We'll hear from James McDonald, of course, coming up shortly as well. Winx Stakes goes to a check.